Hello. Welcome back to my discussion videos. We are going to be reviewing Beastars Chapter 33 to Make a Solemn Vow. Oh, I'm excited to get into this chapter. It looks like we are going to have another Loui-centric chapter right now. So, there is no light in the darkness. There's no light in the world without darkness. This is the dark origin of the beast who runs in the path of splendor. The dark origin. Okay, so we're going to get some backstory on Loui. It was hinted that Loui has a dark secret that he's keeping from everyone. Bill mentioned it before when he confronted Loui about it, and I guess he was trying to like blackmail him or something like that. Before Loui put a gun to his head and told him to shut the F up. So I'm curious to see what it is, and if it has anything to do with not the ghetto. It's called the back alley market now. So if it has anything to do with that, let's find out. Let's see, what is this? Hey, where's number 4? I don't see him. Hurry up and find him. We can't lose him. I need number 4. It's number 4. A little boy trembles in his feet with a knife in both hands. What is going on? Oh wow, so this must be Kid Loui right here. Number 4. Alright, so he wakes up in a cold sweat. Okay, this is his room. I love seeing stuff like this. Like, small world building stuff. Like environment building. World building through environment, I should say. This is Louis's room. I don't know what it is, I like rooms. Like when I was reading My Hero Academia, when they finally decided they were going to stay on campus and they were showing off their rooms. I love stuff like that because you get to see the personality of the characters reflected through their rooms. And Louis's room is just how you would expect it. Like the same thing with Naruto when they were showing, when Kakashi and the third Hokage were going through their students' rooms just so Kakashi could see how they lived. Naruto's was all messy, like spoiled milk ramen everywhere. Sasuke's was like clean and proper, organized, reflects his character. And Sakura's was we didn't get to see hers, but I'd assume it was just boring. Like Sakura the character. So anyway. Yep, Louis's room is clean, organized. That's to be expected. It's pretty darn boring. And big too. Is he at school? Does he have his own private room at school? He does. He has to be at school because he doesn't go home. He doesn't have any roommates or anything. I just noticed that. Let me see if he is first. Oh, sorry. Here's number 4. What? Ah, thanks. I really needed this. Yep. He most definitely still is at Cherryton. It's okay now. We've got number 4's shirt. Alright, let's get started with morning practice. Note, in Japan, 4 is an unlucky number because of its pronunciations. Sound like the word death. She. Okay, got it. So the number of death. It's been 13 years. Fun fact, 13 is an unlucky number. In the United States, there's no 13th floor in like elevators and stuff. Wow, okay, so he's still at school. So I was right. Okay, so if he's still at school, this just shows like his class and his standing with other people. If he's able to afford his own room, no roommates, that probably would explain why he's not very sociable. I mean, he is, but he keeps to himself. He's very private. And it's reflected how he likes to keep his privacy with the high standard of living, mind you. So that's fascinating. My past is firmly etched into my being. Oh, so it's foot. So that's right foot. Oh, okay. Is that the foot he injured during the dance performance? Not the dance performance, the Atler play? No problem. Okay, so he was marked number 4. If my past has to stick with me for my entire life, then all I can do is live with it. I happened to come across the back alley market. Oh, they're not calling it the ghetto anymore. That retcon, okay. And I found out your secret. How do you see? I don't get that. That must be a plot hole. How do you just come across someone's secret in the back alley market, Bill? That's so weird for that to be a thing. I don't know if the writer, I don't know what the writer's setting up with Bill, but you don't just come across something like that, like, cause he didn't even know where the back alley market was, right? So if you didn't know where it was, and you had no reason to bring Loui up, unless someone just happened to be talking about Loui, but that's pretty darn convenient if you ask me. It just doesn't make sense. I don't like when writing it doesn't make sense just to progress the plot along, right? Because in order for us to like get into Loui, there must have been other ways to do it, but I guess they just use Bill just for convenience to have Loui bring up his past, right? Because we don't know like his full story yet and why he was chosen for Drama Club. Let's see. I didn't expect that scum to find out, but there's no need to panic. I just need to prepare myself for the worst case scenario. So what is the worst case scenario? What are you? Lab experiment or what? Abu. 13 years ago. Okay, so 13 years ago. What's he doing? Abu. My experiences back then will always haunt me. 13 years ago. Come on, you're up number 7. Au. Oh, so is that Abu? Or that must be his friend? So he's marked right there on his right foot. I forget, did Loui hurt his right foot or his left foot during the Adler play? Because if he hurt his right foot and it was covered up then, that would have been a brilliant way to just to hide his marking right here, his tattoo marking on his right foot. So let's see, it'll be fine. They'll eat you after you're done taking your sleeping pills. What? Eat him? Oh, that's so sad. What's wrong, number 4? You hungry? You already ate breakfast. What? Okay, so did this happen in the back alley market? So so the meat that they get there, they said they got it from like funeral homes and stuff like that. Like funeral homes, hospitals. Is there another layer to it? Like, alright, so funeral homes, hospitals, that's already dead animals. So I guess another market is created for for animals who want their illegal meat sold fresh. In which case, was Loui abducted from his parents, or was he born there? Kind of like not human, animal trafficking, like that. If so, that's really messed up. That's actually really freaking dark. You're not allowed any luxury, no matter how valuable you are to the market. Oh, so they have them in, these are kids, and they have them in chains and stuff. 4 was my ID number. I was 5 years old at the time, and I was raised in the back alley market as livestock. Okay, so he was raised there. Born and raised there. That is so garbage. So do they have like breeding chambers where they have like, pregnant females who give birth to, small animals, babies, and then they're fed and grown to be a healthy portion of meat and then sold off? That is so fucked. Raising livestock is considered taboo even in the back alley market. That's why they reserve an inconspicuous tower to stabilize the meat selling business. The livestock spends their lives in the basement. The customers go to the second floor to wait for their order. Wow. We were nothing but food with a price tag to them. We weren't taught how to speak or read. So they can never, escape, and if they did, tell people what happened there. But we still knew that being taken away from the basement would be tantamount to death. This is the room, huh? Yes, sir. I never would have imagined the great Oguma of the Horns conglomerate would set foot in a filthy place like this. Oh, okay, so this must be Louis's dad right here. Because, clearly we know Louis doesn't die. This must be the origin story of how he was adopted then. And his dad's name is Oguma. Because, it just makes sense. Because Louis being adopted into a rich family. No need for the flattery. Is the fawn in this cage a red deer? Yes, sir. But number 4's body is small and fragile. I can get you a healthier fawn from another cage. No need. I will buy this fawn. A stag appeared before my eyes. You will come with me, young fawn. I could tell from his attire, appearance, and tone that my life wasn't in danger. Louis's dad looks like a beast. Honestly, he's a businessman, but he looks like a beast. He has that, confident persona. He's very proud, and you can see it in his eyes. But that is so sad. Alright, let's continue. But that's exactly why I denied him. Come on, number 4. Okay, so he can't even speak, so that explains why he's making those sounds. He can even pronounce his friend's name. Actually, no, it makes sense. His friend wouldn't even have a name, right? Hey, calm down, you're gonna live. You're quite the righteous one. Okay, so he's fighting. Does it really pain you to leave your friend behind if you get out alive? Oh. He has good insight. Thank you, good sir. Oh, sure. Thank you for the large sum you gave us. Oh, wow. So who's his friend? Let me go back to the cage. Who's in there with them? It's like a sheep and a rabbit. Is he a sheep or is that a llama? It's either a llama or a rabbit that's in there with them, so it's a little both. Wow, okay, so he doesn't want to leave his friends. Okay, so alright, so I like to see it. He has some fight in there, so he'd rather stay and die with them than leave them behind. Let's see, are they in an elevator? To this day, I still wonder what my young friends were thinking when I was taken to that elevator. That's so sad. You don't seem to know how to speak, but I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Oguma, and I'm the only son of a noble family. However, I suffer from a birth defect that renders me unable to produce offspring. Oh, that's unfortunate. So that's why he's adopting Loui, so he could take over for him as an heir or a successor. That's where you come in. You don't have a family lineage, which is why I want to raise you as my son and make you a part of my prosperous family. I'm very serious. Okay, so you know what this reminds me of? See, I watched a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. I still keep up with it from time to time, but it reminds me of Seto Kaiba. At least now that I'm really thinking about it, Seto Kaiba's origin story. Because Seto Kaiba was a orphan as well with his brother Mokuba. But the thing about it is, Kaiba actually worked for everything he had. Kaiba had a really hard upbringing, and nothing. Even though he was adopted into a rich family, he wasn't just adopted for the hell of it. He actually earned his way. He earned his spot in the family by actually beating Gozaburo in chess, which he practiced and prepared. He actually studied for. Let's see if it follows along. If he's gonna test him in any way. You're a stubborn one, so he's struggling and biting. Yeah, Kaiba's one of my favorite characters of all time. Let's see, I won't show you mercy just because you're a little fawn. He pushes him out. Where is he pushing him to? Oh wow, these are... Now take this knife and use it well. Is he gonna have them fight them to the death? What? You will confront the most dangerous kind of enemy. A group of hungry carnivores waiting for their meal. That is so metal. That's nuts. He's a kid. And he's closing the door too. I will bear witness to the full extent of your gallantry. Ow. What? Is that supposed to be our snack? A little fawn, huh? Looks tasty. What's he gonna do? Don't be scared, boy. Come over. So is he gonna kill them? No, that doesn't. Alright, so look, it wouldn't make any sense for Loui to take all these guys out unless they go. This is the daughter of the creator of JoJo. Oops, not JoJo. Freaking Grappler Baki. It wouldn't make any sense for Loui to be able to kill full-grown carnivores like this, right? Right. You have a lion, a hippo, and a bear. There's no way he's winning that. So I'm guessing he just wants to see what he's gonna do in a situation, because he said, let's test your gallantry and not make sure he said, let's test your gallantry, not if you can win, but your gallantry. So the only reasonable thing to do in this situation is either try to fight or have the resolve to just, you know, take your own life, I suppose. But by anime logic, he might just try to fight them. From what we've seen, Louis a fighter. Let's see. Oh? Okay. Yep. Okay, so. Damn, I'm good. Alright, so look. He's holding the knife to his throat right now. He's yelling at him while he's being surrounded by these carnivores, these hungry carnivores right here. That is awesome. Alright, so he grabs him and he pulls him back in. He's like, you really surprised me. Look at these filthy beasts. They're that hungry for meat that they were just about to eat him on the spot. You know, this, I can understand Louis' character right now. Like, you know, because when we were introduced to him, he's clearly, straight up, he's kind of racist. But now that we have this backstory of Louis, I can kind of see where he's coming from now. Because he's experienced the darkness of the world firsthand. He was literally born into it. And he sees what, like, the reality of the situation. So, in a sense, Louis ahead of, he's older than, he's mature. Much more mentally, like he's older. He's kind of unhinged, which kind of explains why he carries around a gun for his protection, because, you know, he's afraid and he's very, very much aware of, you know, how weak he is as a herbivore, you know, and he's been prey his entire life, literally. And some herbivores, they understand that, but they don't grasp it the same way that Louis does, because he was born in a cage, and he's seen his friends get eaten, you know, day after day. And he has to watch them just go to their death. That is so garbage. So I can understand where Louis is coming from, and his hatred comes from. Let's see what Oguma does now. You would take your own life rather than be eaten alive. You are exactly what I've been looking for. I'm proud of you. You are worthy of being my son. Wow, okay. Yeah, okay, so that's awesome. Like, the resolve to, like, not have, you know, your life taken by filthy beasts, but you doing it yourself to not give them the satisfaction, that's actually metal AF. I'm happy for Louis, too, that he would do that. Because there's no way he's winning that fight as a kid. So he had a choice, and he made it. You know, I could see what Oguma's getting at. It was about him taking the initiative to do what was hard, but needed to be done, and what was best for him at the time. Getting eaten alive, that's the worst. That's the worst case scenario. Taking your own life and then being dead and then having them do what you want, at least you made the choice. So I get it. Even though it is kind of fucked up, but I get it. And this is the door to freedom for Loui right here. You have what it takes to change the world. What makes him say that? Was that his resolve? Is that what he means? Don't you realize it? You can turn your pain and suffering into strength. It will be your mission to accomplish that, Loui. Wow. So he gives, alright, so this is his scene, his story of when he got adopted. That light, so I like how this is being shown by the Oguma right here. They're on the roof, I'm assuming. Yeah, because we saw the top of the tower, right? And this high perspective up top. So they're on the roof. So I think this is a nice little metaphor about how Louis is uncaged. He's caged no longer, and the world is literally his now. All he has to do is go out there and take it, which would explain a lot where Louis's mentality comes from, of only relying on himself, you know, being the best at whatever he does, being absolutely perfect, and his ambition to become the Beastar. That's his, not destiny, but it's his ambition that was instilled into him at a young age by Oguma, who can't have any children. That's awesome. That's really freaking sweet. That is really freaking cool. Poor Loui, though. And he has night terrors about this daily. So that explains he has PTSD from it. Okay, so there. Oh, this is a familiar scene right here. So this is still not fixed. Keep out, keep out. This is where Tim the alpaca died. I'm sorry, not died. He got murdered, devoured. A tribute of determination to his underclassmen. Tim, I won't ever forget your death. I made a vow that I would change this world for the better. Okay, so, oh man, that are the feels. So I'm loving this. Whenever a sweet scene is happening, these lights appear. Like in the scene, you see it with Haru, you see it with Juno. And this is Louis' resolve. This is why he wants to become the Beastar. Actually, no. I would actually, come to think of it, I don't know why Loui like deep down, we can imply that Oguma wants him to become the Beastar, but why does Loui? I want to hear it from him. I don't want to misinterpret it, but I actually want to hear Louis' reasoning for why he wants to become the Beastar in his own words. I want to hear that speech from him. Because he was born in darkness, right? Watching his friends die by the hands of carnivores. So what contribute if he were to become the Beastar, which is the leader of society? The Beastar is supposed to unite herbivore and carnivores. They have like influence and reach in politics and pretty much in everything. So I'm guessing they decide the rules of their like city and stuff like that, and the rules of the world or city, right? So if Loui were to become the Beastar, because I'm guessing there's more than one. There are Beastars, and then there's the Beastar, like the Sublime Beastar, I believe. So, what would Louis' endgame be? What does he want? How will he contribute if he becomes the Beastar? Will it be only in herbivore favored? Because he has a hatred for carnivores. Because the issue I have with this and how Beastars are selected, what if their intentions aren't pure? Is there a dark Beastar or something like that? What if they make rules or make changes to society that's in favor of their particular species class? Like herbivores or carnivores. Clearly, the laws of their world are in favor of herbivores over carnivores. So what would happen if Loui were to get in, and he'd make rules and stuff for carnivores more oppressive? How would that affect them? Because in order to be the Beastar or a leader of that stature, in my opinion, you have to understand both sides of the story. You have to understand both sides of the equation, to have that empathy towards carnivores. Because I really want to see that addressed, and I feel like that question's going to be answered as Loui interacts more with Legacy, and as Legacy, he's on his own journey right now. Louis very much a dual protagonist. It's becoming more and more apparent because we got his backstory now. In Legacy, he's still very much discovering himself and finding himself in all this, and his relationship with Haru, a herbivore. That's kind of a love that shouldn't really work, and society clearly looks down upon that because I view it from Louis' perspective. Like, I'm kind of using Loui as a liaison to speak for all herbivores and their views and what they think. So this is an interesting dynamic that's turning about now that we have this context, and I can't wait to see what happens next. I will see you during chapter 34. Comment, rate, subscribe. Adios.